If the strongest guild in the game's history is willing to hang it up because they don't feel like it can get any better, that should be very indicative. That is very bad for the PvP scene. I don't care who you are. Even digital can barely celebrate this. All right. So, if you guys have not heard, I know that this kind of spread through the community like wildfire last night. I knew within about 2 minutes of this post going live. I appreciate the people that did send it to me. Want to keep me in the loop here. Show Nation has quit the game. You don't know who Show Nation is? They are the strongest guild in the world. Pretty uncontestedly. They've been the strongest guild in North America. North America has the strongest top-end players in the world, and they've been the dominant guild in North America for the last, I would say, 5 years at least, almost 6 years, 5 years. Man Up was before that. They took over basically after Man Up did, and they've been the overwhelmingly dominant force in our PvP scene since then. They are the only guild in the world to win multiple best in guild tournaments back to back to back, and have the Arsha acknowledgements title like they have. The only players in the world to actually be able to don that title. Absolutely brutal. So what I want to talk about is what this kind of means for the scene. First, let's read Roots' DM to his guild here. This Roots is or was the GM of Show Nation, still is, but it's a retirement community now. Let me open up my pen here so that I can draw and stuff as necessary. All right, probably not a surprise if you've been here a while, but we're done. I'ma just type as I think, so this is gonna be a wall, but I think we're pretty much all on the same page. The game is just way too dead and boring right now. If I knew 3 years ago it wasn't gonna get better, I would have called it then, and it's only gotten worse. I've pretty much been done since the start of the year, and I knew this was happening. Even if the node balance changes were good, I just thought it would make the game feel alive for a few months, like usual, and we'd get some fun out of it. That. But all that did was kill it more this time. We all know it's not getting any better, and it will keep getting worse. They said a balance patch was coming for a year straight just for it to suck anyway. They let Node Wars be a PvE mode for years and then managed to come up with a system just as boring. They let a bug break Node Wars for a week when they could have fixed it in a day. They had the Heidel ball and told us there's nothing to even look forward to. It's about as dead as it can get without turning the servers off. The game kind of sucked, but I'm happy with how the guild went. I never played any other MMOs, so it's been surprising how bad people are at this. We would beat any other guild that has existed at their peak, probably from any region, and we ran the server longer than anyone has or will. As egotistical as that sounded, he's absolutely correct. I always hated calling. I just had no choice, like every role I took over. But you guys made it bearable. Being surrounded by good players kept the game fun, and this is the only guild for that. But it's not enough anymore. We've done everything there is to do besides farm EU, and I gave up on that. Most of you only kept playing for the guild, so it's time to be free. Maybe we get nostalgic and mess around on 30s once or twice a week at some point, but for now we're done. Thank you everyone that's been a part of this community. I know it won't even be affected by this. We'll still be playing random stuff and a little BDO. Isn't that last statement the truth? The thing about PvP guilds and BDO that you guys need to understand is that they're a community. First and foremost. Yeah, before I start talking about it, let's get 07s in chat for Show. 07s in chat for Show Nation. Look at all that love. Look at all that love. Holy shit. Okay, now I want to talk a little bit about their arch rivals I mean, this is a bad thing for the scene, which I'm gonna get into. But Cho Nation's arch rivals went live last night to show their support for Cho in retiring like this. I wanted to pull that up here. Actually just crazy. And this is why we love the PvP scene so much. This is why we love the PvP scene so much. You take a guild, Digital has been number 3 in the North American PvP scene for a really long time. Cho Nation dying means they're number 2. Okay, because Cho Nation playing the game is number 1. Cho Nation retired is number 2, and you're still dog shit, Digi. Hey, congrats on moving into the number 2 spot, buddy. Toxic, welcome to PvP. You ever beat Digi? Yeah. In team fights, absolutely, yeah. And I beat him in Vertex, too. Vertex was very, very strong when I was in Vertex. We were number 2. BR was number 2 for a really long time. By the time I joined Vertex back in the day, BR was kind of out the door. And at that point, I basically never took an L to BR, and they ended up retiring shortly after that. And then a lot of their players went to Digital. Digital got really strong. And then Vertex died because BR died. And again, a lot of those players went to Digi. Digi got even stronger and still couldn't beat Cho, which is kind of crazy. It is what it is, bro. It is what it is, bro. I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying. Oh my god. All right. No, the Digi's a great guild, but this was just a little bit over the top, but that's what I expect from the PvP scene. This is exactly what I would expect from the PvP scene. Right. Anyway, that was their arch rivals' response to it. Very interesting. If we want to take a look at their chat while it's going on, we can see the rats. No surprise with this one here. There's Drift right there at the forefront of all things dumb, bro. There it is, bro. Anyway, they basically played clips on repeat. This is all the stream was, by the way. There's no way that Alec came into that stream right now. I knew that cared. I knew that. Look, I just want to say that Ethereum, you leave, you lose. Well, you left 2 months ago, so you're like the biggest losers. Idiot. I don't understand. Alec acted like he didn't give a shit about it. Like for months, it was like, we're going to beat Cho and we're going to be number 1. And then out of nowhere, they're like, yeah, never mind. We don't want to do this anymore. And they left and they acted like they never cared about BDO again. And here he is talking in Loads' chat of all things. Insane. Ethereum just won Siege and Throne. In KR? Yeah. I would imagine. Koreans suck at PvP. And Ethereum is actually good at PvP. So like, they're really just clubbing seals if you think about it. I don't know. They only know how to Zerg. I mean, that's PvP in Throne and Liberty, as far as I'm aware. But like, they're better than basically all of the Korean server put together. So like, they could do it blindfolded with a hand behind their back. Like, that's how, like, their organization is just objectively stronger than anything I've seen, anything in KR put together, at least for video. You know what I'm saying? Okay. All right, so let's talk about what this kind of means for the scene a little bit, and overall what this means for the game. So what you need to understand is this isn't just the strongest guild in North America dying, guys. This is a group of players that know and understand the systems of Black Desert Online better than any other group of players in the game. How do you think they got to the top? How do you think they got all their gear? And don't say, and do not say pilot. No one say it, okay? You're all thinking it, nobody say it. But like, realistically though, a lot of Cho, a lot of the strongest players in Cho, along with the most geared players in Cho, are there because they're the ones that understood what the next big thing is for life skilling. How to make a tremendous amount of money and use the systems of the game in the best way possible to make the most amount of silver. Okay. And they've been doing it for many years. And Roots was the best politician on the server. Okay. So we're not just losing the best guild on the server from a PvP standpoint. These are some of the most veteran players to ever play the game, or just quitting. What you need to understand is what a lot of people misunderstand about the PvP scene is that when a guild dies, it doesn't mean that the players are all just immediately going to leave and go to some other guild and redistribute into the PvP scene. That's not how it works. PvP guilds in Black Desert, especially these big PvP guilds, they're a community. They're like brothers. They're not going anywhere. They're not leaving. They're just retiring. That's it. If Digital retires tomorrow, which could happen, nobody from Digi is leaving to go play the game in another guild. Maybe 15 or 20 people will leave over the next few months. But on the whole, the community will just stay together and those players will just slowly stop playing the game altogether. And that's how it works. That's how it works. That's how it worked in Apocalypse too. In Apocalypse, you had Notorious and you had Clash, who were really strong guilds allied together for a long time. They retired and they didn't lose a single person for like 3 weeks. They sat at maximum people. It was insane. It was insane. Right? There's still a really strong community. Right? Joe's already down 40 members. Well, I mean, you expect a dip, right? You expect some dip. But on the whole, their community stays together. It's not like Zethian's going to leave. It's not like Zethian's going to go anywhere. You think Divios is going to up and leave Cho to go join Digi because it's the next strongest guild? Like, what are we talking about? Like this, like, it's a community of players, guys. Whenever you lose a guild, you lose 80 to 100 PvPers on the whole scene. That's what you lose. Okay, because Cho Nation is a guild of about 150 players. Okay, because you have Cho Nation plus Chomies. All right, so it's 150 players in the community currently, or not in the community, in the guild currently. Maybe 50 of them will be playing the game in a handful of months. Okay, which means that we just lost 100 of our strongest players, period, dot, from the game. And that's just how it is. And that's just how it is. It is, in fact, Chover. As they say. Cho has been the strongest guild since, gosh, I started before Cho, and then I've seen them reign through the PvP scene for many years. I've run just about every type of guild there is to run in Black Desert. I ran the bottom end T1 guild starting from nothing. We rose through T1s, went to T2, T3, T4. We were there for the start of Cap Siege. We were a good mid-tier guild. And when Dismantled went down, I helped run Vertex, which was the second strongest guild on the server. Then I went over to Corrupt and Family. And then back to Statistic, which is another like mid-tier PvP guild. And now I'm in Reassembled, which is like a PVX guild, which doesn't really count. But in all that time in PvP, Roots and I, we've never really gotten along. Roots and I have never really gotten along. But here's what I can say about Roots, is that there's a lot of people that could be in charge of our PvP scene. And of the players that could be in charge of the scene as a whole in North America, I'm glad it was Roots for all these years. I'm really glad it was Roots. Because as much as you could have hated Cho, he really did look out for the scene. He did. He did. You didn't see Cho doing what Korea does. He didn't see... He like, in Korea, their top PvP guilds, they all just shit on all the mid-tier guilds. They coordinate, and they try to just cartel all of the lower tier guilds and destroy all their fights. Right? Now, Roots always put Cho Nation first. Right? He was an asshole. He was. He always put Cho first. And God, sometimes you just hated him. God, you just hated him sometimes. But when it came right down to it, he was fair to the PvP scene. And that's just how it is. And although we never saw eye to eye, this has to be really bittersweet for him. I was a GM for a long time too. And letting go is one of the hardest things you can possibly do. But it's got to feel good. Because, like, you know, you let everyone down. Like, you just feel like you let everyone down if you retire the guild. And, like, you know, everybody's going to have less fun because you're not running it anymore, yeah? It's just brutal. It's just brutal. But I'll be honest with you, his mental health, he probably woke up today and he had a huge weight lifted off his shoulders. So, good for him. You know, good for him. I have nothing but respect for Cho. Yeah, I've had my fair share of shit talking Cho Nation shit. I've banned Roots in my chat before for talking shit. Like, it is what it is, right? I talk shit on Digi, I've talked shit on Cho, but at the end of the day, when you lose the strongest guild in the world or the strongest guild in North America, it kind of makes waves. They've been the staple of our PvP scene for a long time, right? And I think that Loads and Soggy will do a good job for as long as they're going to be around. God knows, Digi and Corrupt could be soon to follow, but we'll see. But this speaks volumes. When the strongest guild quits the game, that's really bad. You understand? I put out a video today that really is resonating with the community. Based on like the comments and the engagement that it's getting. That react to Sachi Koro's video. Make PvP great again video. And like, I talk in that video about how the bottom 30% of guilds is always like quitting the game with this new node war system. Well, this is the top 1% of guilds. And they're not having fun either. That's what's really scary about this. It's scary from the PvP scene's perspective that even the strongest guilds aren't having fun. And it's scary from the rest of the scene's perspective when you consider that, again, these are the most veteran, original players that understand the game better than our own developers do. Okay? All the analytics in the world, all of the play testing in the world that the developers pretend to do and all that shit pales in comparison to the tens of thousands of hours that these players put into the game, and they're leaving. They're retiring. That's it. Right? It's like, oh, they're going to keep playing the game regularly. Sure, as a community. But they're done. They're done. You're just not going to see them around anymore. It's sad to see. It really is. It's sad to see. All right, let's take a look at some of these comments. It's Chover. It's true. All right. Man, I remember fighting Cho Nation at every war, 27 to 2019. Fun times. Yeah, I've fought Cho Nation more times than I can count. Really, I have. And the funny thing about fighting Cho was that, like, Yeah, you're fighting the best guild on the server, but they always allowed it to be like a team fight. Show didn't have to make fights fair. Okay? Neither does any guild. Digi doesn't have to. Corrupt doesn't have to. Right? But like, they all do. We're fortunate to have people running our PvP scene and like players that are in charge that aren't fedora wearing neck-bearded loser like moderate our subreddit. Okay? If the same people that moderate our Black Desert subreddit were running our PvP scene, PvP would have been dead years ago. Just absolutely brutal. I was wondering if BDO's PvP scene was even alive enough for someone to cross posts this news to Reddit. Well, here we are. I guess I wonder who's next compared to even just a few years ago. The NA PvP scene is very diminished and I don't see much sign of renaissance. He's not wrong. That's absolutely the truth. Again, there's less guilds today than there have ever been in my history in the game playing PvP. And it's because the developers refuse to admit that they're wrong. And they don't want to listen to the West. And I'm going to say this very carefully. I was talking about it in my Discord last night. The only thing that these people are really going to listen to, guys, is your wallet. So if you don't like the way that PvP is going, that's how you need to talk. I am not going to say much more than that about that topic. The devs haven't given a rat about PvP or the Western audience for years now. We simply exist to run in circles and buy consumables to crons to insanely expensive gear upgrades. Game is a shadow of its former self. I wouldn't necessarily go that far, but the PvP scene is certainly a shadow of its former self. Yeah. Throw away account so it won't be linked to my main account. There's damn. All right. Well, damn. All right. Yeah, I'm organizing a UN podcast, guys. But I'll be honest with you, I'm not sure it's going to do a whole lot. And like, we're just going to keep seeing guilds die. We're going to keep seeing players quit the game. And the game's going to continue on a decline. There's people that are on copium about this. And I do want to highlight one of these people. We have a comment of the day. We love comments of the day. I've started doing this every day on my YouTube. There is a comment of the day I want to find real quick. It's down here somewhere. It had 4 upvotes a little while ago. Here it is. Here it is right here. Comment of the day award goes to Felix010 on today's video. And he has something to add. He says, Blue, it feels like a bit like you're trying to spin some PvP changes into a big crisis, while a vast majority of the players is immensely enjoying the game. We're just going to lead off with that, guys. The implication that I, as a lone content creator, can spin the entire PvP scene and worldwide the players as a whole into crisis is insane. Is crazy. And saying that the vast majority of players are enjoying the game when the engagement on this video just shows you that everyone is agreeing with me is wild. But let's read onwards, shall we? I think you're going through a bit of a burnout phase and you're trying to make it a you thing into some bigger problem with the game. The only people constantly complaining are some streamers and other players with thousands of hours invested into the game, whining that now when they spend an ungodly amount of time playing the game, they feel like there's not enough time for them to do it. Well, no shit. Guess what? Go play some other MMO and let's see how long you're gonna last. Perhaps you should consider taking some time away from BDO, my dude, and stop inflicting your subjective frustrations on others. Some node war PvP changes can be viewed as detrimental, but not to the extent of damaging the game. The PvP is still there, and even more ways of engaging in it are on the way. Like the PvP hardcore servers in AOS Competitive League, which, by the way, happened last month, you out-of-touch idiot. But read onwards. Open world PvP has always been a subject raising a lot of discussion, but it's still there, and it's what you're looking for on the Arsha servers, are a place to provide unrestricted open world PvP experience for everyone interested. Guys, we now know the name of the developer YouTube account. We found him, boys. We found him. Caught. Actually insane. Look at the ratio. Look at 4 upvotes with 4 replies. You're getting toasted. Oh, LOL. God. Oh, God. Oh, God. That's so base. Oh, my God. That's insane. What a joke, bro. Oh my God, totally agreed. Those who are crying are streamers and try-hard players who haven't touched grass for years, struggling what to do with their fully maxed gear. My fully maxed gear. Insane. So geared. Like, I don't know. Like that video just shows you. I just want to demonstrate, guys. Show Nation dying, because this is related. Show Nation dying. This guy's comment, this video that I put out today, reacting to Sachi's video. I'm not just making this up, guys. This isn't just some made up bullshit. Okay, look at the analytics. This is some copium that everyone's enjoying the game except for me. This is insane. Look. What are we talking about? We're lower than we have ever been. What the f are we talking about in the last year? What the hell? Not to mention, well, let's look at Pearl Abyss stock. Okay, 1 year to date. Wow, it seems like it's doing pretty well. Guys, it's down 16% in the last year. 16%. Not to mention, let's go to max, shall we? The max of all time. Look at how low we've gotten in April of 2024, just some 3 months ago. We were at 28,500 Korean won. It's never been that low, guys, since 2017 when the game launched in the West. Don't tell me that we're doing well and it's my fault. I'm the one creating a goddamn panic. Do not tell me that. And before you guys say, oh, but Blue, it's trending upwards. Look at this. Look when it trended upward, dumbass. In May into June here. Why is it spiking, guys? The ball. The idle ball. This is the height of the whole year. Okay? Compare it to last year's ball. We're not even at the bottom of Land of the Morning Light last year. We're not even at the bottom of what we had last year. What are we talking about? Guys, this is supposed to be our peak. It launches in Korea and it barely sees an increase in stock. Okay? Oh, well, Blue, that's still not enough evidence for me. Okay, well, let's look at the Black Desert content creators, shall we? Choice is an excellent control group. I explained this in my recent video as well. Choice is an awesome control group because Choice never runs events. Choice never leaves the category. Choice doesn't do anything outside of the norm. He just has very consistently good content in Black Desert Online, has for a long time. So let's see how Choice is doing. Any increase or decrease in Choice's viewership is typically directly a result of the game state. Let's take a look at Choice's graph. People understand graphs. Right, guys? You know how to read graphs. Give it a second, it's thinking. Yeah, the game state's fine, guys. Yeah, don't worry. Last year, in July. Okay? This year, in July. Don't tell me that Choice has somehow lowered the standard of quality of his content. He's a phenomenal content creator, okay? And if you look at me too, I'm not exempt, okay? I'm a little different because I stream in more than one category, but on the whole, you can still see the exact same trend. You still see the exact same trend. How in the f are you supposed to deal with this? The content creators are struggling. The players are struggling. The company is struggling. I'm not making this up. You're delusional. You're delusional. If the strongest guild in the game's history is willing to hang it up because they don't feel like it can get any better, that should be very indicative. That is very bad for the PvP scene. I don't care who you are. Even Digital can barely celebrate this. Digi can barely celebrate this because they've been retired themselves. The last 3 months, they haven't fought shit. They haven't fought anything the last 3 months. They had nothing to do with Cho dying. Woo, we outlasted you. You're retired too, man. What are you talking about? We don't need an announcement from Loads to know. Holy shit. For real, only bangers. Yeah, everybody remember C-Zane, nothing but bangers. Guys, I don't know what's that's nothing but bangers. You know, it's funny, when I went to see him, Corruption, and told her when the new PvP scene came out, when the new Node War scene came out, I said, Corruption, everybody hates this new PvP. This Node War system is not going to work. This is not good for the scene. Corruption was like, well, not everybody hates it, right? You know, and I'm like, well, wait, who likes it? And C-Zane was like, nothing but bangers. Nothing but bangers. Still having bangers, man? Are you still having bangers? I'm curious. I love you, C-Zane. But son of a bitch, if that wasn't the most wrong take to have at that moment, I don't think it would have helped at all. But god damn it. Deleted. Throwaway account so it won't be linked to my main account. I'm one of the founding members of Cho Nation, and I wanted to provide a summary of the various arcs this guild has gone through from my perspective. If you find this post too long, just have ChatGPT summarize it. I'm right here. It's okay. Cho Nation was founded by a group of high school friends on the game's launch, naming it as a joke after one of our friends. Initially, there was only 6 members, so we would go to Valia Docks and recruit AFK fishers. Yep, that's how it all starts. One day, we invited a rando called Roots. Back then, on the Edon server, Cho Nation was a nobody guild. Our first big break came when the larger guild, Man Up, asked them to help take Calpheon against the major guilds like Breakthrough and Kyukai. Holy shit, Kyukai's a throwback. The plan was for us to hold off Critical while Man Up dealt with the other opponents. It was a race against the clock, and I'll never forget the tension when our fort was almost destroyed, only for Man Up to pull off the victory. This cemented our role as Man Up's subordinates at the time. I still have my honorary knee pads from the moment. I mean, those knee pads serve Lakari super well. You know what I mean? They're like an heirloom. They pass them down, right? You can buy them off like the Cho Nation website. Shortly after, Man Up sent one of their cannoneers to train us, as back then, things like range charts and cannon spotters were unheard of. Yeah. Again, these people understood, guys, these people understood the game better than anyone ever has, or probably ever will. Like, literally insane. Not just the mechanics of PvP, but like, again, the whole game. They just understood exactly. Like, hey, there's this random NPC that will allow you to buy this green gear if you get it to 450 Amity, and then you can sell it on the market and flip a profit by buying from a vendor. Insane knowledge. Crazy knowledge that these players had about the game. Like, and they still continue to have. So nuts. After the merge, we went around helping other Edon guilds like Vision, now Snake, eventually becoming a dominant force in Serendia by pushing out Iconic. This was the first time we really went all out, recruiting other guilds to fight alongside us. We then developed a long-running feud with the guild FML. Oh my god, bro. Holy crap. FML has had an arc, bro. Everybody knows them as a T1 guild when they come back nowadays. What a crazy thing to mention them in this context. Who saw it as their mission to destroy Cho Nation. Yep. While we put up a good fight, FML was ultimately stronger, often using the advantage for PR on this subreddit. God, remember when you could use Reddit? to advertise the news that was going on in the game. I remember that I used to get up in the morning and browse Reddit as like I was a new player. And what I would do is I would look at Reddit to see like what Man Up was doing, what Lakari was doing, what Vertex was doing about it. You know what I mean? All of the drama was all posted on the subreddit. And then we got some fedora wearing neck-bearded loser heads to get on the mod team of this godforsaken shithole of a subreddit, and they ruined it. Just like honestly, they might be our development team. They might be the same people, guys. Insane. Eventually, we were given the chance to settle things in a 1v1 war organized by Snake. I even canceled a date to attend because shows before hoes. That's crazy. That's insane. Honey, the sex can wait. FML isn't gonna beat itself, honey. Holy based. Holy based. In the end, we emerged victorious, sending FML to Brazil. Jesus. Our next major conflict was a long, drawn-out war with Vertex over control of Calpheon. Yep. It was a stalemate, so we ended up betraying Man Up and joining a coalition to push them out of Valencia instead. This was that iconic war where like 32 guilds or some shit showed up to finally zerg Man Up out of the castle that they had been sitting in for like 2 straight years. Or like 54 straight weeks. I guess it was over a year. It was nuts. We would end up denying them all types of PvE and PvP content. I remember watching it on Vert's stream. I remember seeing the Zerg and just going, oh my god. Those hate you guys. I loved it. I loved it. I remember seeing Lakari the next day. Does anyone remember this? Lakari literally, somebody shit talked Lakari's leadership, and Lakari on stream goes, you know what, loser? You. He hits G and he just kicks that kid from the guild. Just removed him. Which was a big deal back in the day because like Man Up, who was just sitting in castle for a super long time, they were getting billions more silver than everyone else was for just being in Man Up. And I remember the next day, Vert is live and he is on the ground with those knee pads I just showed you. Lakari is the best guild master. I have absolutely no issues with the way he chooses to run the guild, and I am in full support of Team Lakari. What an absolute specimen. I couldn't support him more. It was so funny, bro. It was actually just insane. I loved it. I loved it. Eventually leading to their guild disbanding. Yeah, so, yeah. Man Up lost Valencia Castle one time and disbanded because their mental couldn't handle it. It was actually just, it was peak. It was peak. They couldn't handle losing so bad they lost one time and they just mental boomed. They were like, we're gonna hunt you. We have lists of all your names. And then I remember the top upvoted post on Reddit the next day was the Vertex GM going, yeah, so I'll be on Valencia 2 server tomorrow, grinding Sausins at around 2 p.m. Central. Just let me know when you're gonna show up. That's how the PvP scene was back then. Just like actual straight up G's, bro. Straight up G's. So much fun, bro. So much fun. These kinds of all-out tactics against PvE, PvP content would be impossible nowadays. Yeah. Finally, we faced off against Black Rose and Barcode. We were weaker at first, but the power of Lord Cho and the determination of the Chos, we ultimately defeated both guilds, solidifying our status as the #1 siege guild in North America. Black Rose would reanimate now and then with digital and try to contest though. Yeah, this is like the rivalry that everybody really knows about. Cho versus BR was insane. Barcode actually flipped back and forth. Barcode was kind of the cheap hooker of the entire alliance. Nobody really wanted Barcode on their team, but like you kind of got them because they were strong enough to kind of be relevant, but they were weakest of the top 5 siege guilds. So like you didn't want them, but like you needed them, you know what I mean? So like first it was Black Rose that had them, and Cho didn't have enough allies, so then they picked up Barcode, you know what I mean? Like that's how Barcode was seen by the rest of the scene. And Barco didn't care. Barco's just like, farming castles easy. Kai didn't give a f, bro. That's how it was, bro. Kai didn't give a shit. And I got to applaud Barcode because they didn't give a f what they had to do. They've always been the gatekeeper. They were the gatekeepers. They're dead now too. They're retired too. It's cooked. I'm gonna miss all the drama, tension, and toxicity back then. The human element was what kept the game fun for us. It's understandable that PA wants to cater to newer players, but the BDO that people experience now is a very different BDO than the one Cho was built on. How am I the first upvote on this comment? How am I the first? Because you can't read. Oh, he deleted it. He deleted it, but I loaded it before he deleted it. We're huge. No one wanted to, the unwanted kid Barcode. They were just a bunch of mappers. You realize that Black Rose was a bunch of mappers too. You illiterate. Are you kidding me? And also, you're delusional if you think that every single PvP guild on the top end, every single one of the top 5 PvP guilds on the scene at any given point in time has the most exploiters per capita of any guild on the server. So many Tonys grind in those guilds. Don't tell me that the other guilds don't exploit. Get the out of here. Okay. Everybody likes to gang up on Barcode and Black Rose because they're the ones that got caught. Shut up. Of all the disband messages we've seen in the last year or so, this by far reads the most broken. The way he talks about not enjoying calling, etc., it's not the way the top tier guild is supposed to go. See enemies disbandment on EU. They ended on a high note, recognizing that spreading out across the scene would result in better PvP after having reached the top and not seeing anyone able to challenge in the near future. The VODs reflect this. Sure, they're nostalgic, but they're not outright sad and depressed. Instead, here's Roots talking about being freed. Come on, PA. This isn't gonna work out. It's the truth. It's the truth. Jesus. PvP died when the open world, and it became all safe and boring. I mean, the gear when everything is capped and you got no enemies. I think that, like, I don't know, the PvP scene was still doing okay, although admittedly they were upset when the open world died. It's when they changed Node Wars that we truly saw the decline. You know what I mean? Like, the decline was overwhelmingly obvious when we saw the PvP changes. Thank you, Jay. Another masterwork done. True. Jay got another one, guys. Jay got what he wanted. He finally made the veteran players quit. And this is true. This is true. If you make all of the veteran players quit your game, there's actually no one around to remember how good the scene was before. It's like the Thanos strategy, except not from the first movie, from the second movie. Do you guys remember when Thanos literally says, yeah, so I'm just going to do it again? Except this time, I'm going to wipe it down to the last atom and rebuild it from the ground up. A new world that knows not what it has lost. It's like that, but Thanos won. He's currently winning. And we just lost Iron Man. So glad my friends can finally be free. It's true. Bring Cacao back. Cacao was a much bigger problem than you realize. Cacao was so much worse. If you think Cacao had any power over changing how PvP worked in the game, you're literally insane. Cacao's only power was how much pay to win are we going to include on the Pearl Shop? And as it turns out, a shitload. Because when Cacao, because y'all motherfuckers don't remember. I remember when Cacao was in power. I remember when Cacao had power over our monetization, and it was brutal. It was brutal. We have it good now. If Pearl Abyss had started out publishing their game, we would have thousands more players still playing today. because there would have been a lot less pay to win in the game. Jesus, cash cow, exactly. I also remember how Cacao left, and I will never forgive them. As a player, watching how Cacao left their publishing with Pearl Abyss was the most atrocious I had ever seen any company ever treat another company before. When they were leaving, guys, does anyone remember the last 2 weeks that Cacao was publisher for us? It was terrible. The servers crashed all the time. They didn't give a they didn't answer a single support ticket. No support tickets were being answered. They just gave up on the servers. No management. No one cared anymore. They just didn't care. Just writing it out. They were salty. Yeah, Cacao Games. Fuck those losers. Like that's how you treat people on the way out the door? Get the hell out of here, bro. Thank God Pearl Abyss took over. Like, holy shit. Crazy that Cho became so strong. They were large, but they were a large but uncompetitive guild very early in the game's lifespan. Crazy to see how they outgrew, outlasted, and outplayed all the guilds that came up and around. It's true. It's true. I was there for the rise and the fall, and I was a third party. I was a third party. I was not a content creator for the entire beginning arc, but I witnessed all of it with the popcorn. All of you guys sitting there with popcorn watching the Neptunes drama versus Shaky and stuff, that was me all those years ago. Rip Cho. It feels like so many EU PvP guilds will not return from their summer breaks this year, and incredibly sad to see that Pearl Abyss doesn't give a and maybe attempt to fix things in 1 to 2 years after everyone's already left and won't be coming back. Yeah, so like here's the thing. We're 70% of Pearl Abyss's market share. If NA and EU stop spending money on the game, the company goes bankrupt. That's it. Jay's fired, the dev team's fired, everybody goes homeless. That's how it goes. The company sits up without NA EU. That's the truth. So like, we continue down this path, they're gonna learn. They're gonna learn. Right? I'm not advocating for a boycott. I would never be so brazen as to say something stupid like that. But I am gonna say, that's the road you're cruising to. Because people are realizing that the only way they can reach you is their wallet. And if that's what players think, that's exactly what players are gonna do. We just won't play anymore. That's just how it is, bro. Like, players will just stop spending money on the game. That's what's gonna happen. And when the West stops spending money on the game, they die. Their company is over. That's it. Does this mean ChoCon is canceled this year? This actually scares me a little. It should. It should. Respect to him for doing what he doesn't enjoy for years because of his guildies. That's what people don't understand about running a guild in Black Desert Online. And that's why I've always respected Roots. Roots respects me, but for different reasons. He doesn't like me, but he has to respect me. I respect Roots because I was a GM for a long time. And when you're GM, when you have that red border, you don't get to do what you want to do. You don't get to play the game your way. People are always like, you're in charge, you call the shots. Fuck bullshit, you do. You don't get to choose when you node war. You don't get to choose when you siege. You don't get to choose how and when you fight. You don't get to go have dinner with your family tonight. You have to lead siege. You don't get to go on that date with that girl. You gotta go shot call node war because you have hundreds of people counting on you. And that's what it's like being in charge. It's them that run the guild. You're the one that just does all the work. And you get very, very little recognition as a result of it. It's not like when you win, everyone's like, hey, thanks for the good fight, Roots. No, they're like, damn, our dicks are just so much bigger. We're just better players. Like, nah, it's because Roots did like 60 hours of politics to make sure y'all stupid weren't gonna get zerged on minute 1. You just don't understand. The amount of work that dude has to do to make sure that you have a consistently good siege every week on the weeks that they had fights is insane. I know, right? Those weeks where Cho wasn't the strongest guild and they had to climb through the ranks, those are brutal. grueling weeks. You're talking about working a 60-hour work week for a job that you're not getting paid for. But you do it because everyone is counting on you. Because everyone needs you to do it. And without you, they're gonna have less fun. And that's the truth. All right. I think we've talked enough about this. Absolutely tragic to see Cho Nation go, guys. Absolutely tragic. It means a lot more than just one guild dying. Certainly means a lot more than just one guild dying. Let me know what you guys think.